It's been a tale of two seasons for Rougned Odor. Slowed by injury in early April, the Rangers' second baseman bore the brunt of a sluggish start to the 2018 campaign. But at the Midsummer Classic, Rookie cranked up the production. He's doubled his homers. He's raised his average by 60 points. And after a day off last night, El Tipo is back in the lineup, looking to help his team take two in a row versus their divisional foe. Rangers baseball brought to you by Shiner Light Blonde. It's light done right. And we are at the Big A tonight. Middle game of this three-game series. Rangers and the Angels. There's El Tipo. Ready to go tonight. Rangers trying to make it two in a row over the Angels. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you tonight. I'm Dave Raymond alongside Mr. Ranger Tom Grieve. Rangers with a win last night, 5-2. That's the good news. The other part about it, though, was really an all-round win. They did everything right.
They did, Dave. It was a really nice game for the Rangers. We're going to take a look at some of the highlights. Joey Gallo, after a couple of walks, got the scoring started in the second inning, ripped a double down the right field line. Then in a close game, provided an insurance run with a rope to right field in the eighth inning to make it 5-2. Ronald Guzman capped off the second inning with a 430-foot shot. That made it 4-0. And Jose Leclerc closed it down in the ninth. Got his 10th save, 2 strikeouts, 16-inning scoreless streak going right now. Opponents are 2 for their last 46 against him. His 126 opponent's average is #1 among American relievers.
Yeah, he's about as hot as anybody in the game right now. The Rangers, with that win last night, they did it without Nomar Mazara, and they get him back in the lineup tonight.
You know, Nomar spent some time on the disabled list. He's been back now for 3 weeks, and he's been hot. In his last 9 games, he's hit over 350. He's knocked 4 home runs, driven in 13 runs, OPS over 1,200. 20 home runs now for 3 straight seasons. Development has been a big part of this season. You have to remember, he's only 23 years old. He's still developing as well.
It should be fun tonight. Interesting starting matchup. 2 guys making their second career starts tonight, and we'll put them in the spotlight when we come back. Rangers baseball is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford SUV season. Ford is the best in Texas. Shiner Light Blonde, it's light done right. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. Nights for them. Adrian Sampson making his first start as a Ranger. You see what he did at Round Rock this year. Pretty good numbers overall. Jim Johnson making the first start in his career since his Major League debut. 55 games of relief this year, a 3.81 ERA. And it's a bullpen night for the Angels. All right, just about set to get this one going. We saw Johnson in relief earlier this year. Profar got him. Beltre got him as well. We'll have the lineup to the first pitch coming up. Rangers baseball is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by Shiner Light Blonde. It's light done right. At our Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the Texas Rangers, Rougned Odor leading it off. And batting second will be Jurickson Profar. Andrews, Mazzara, Beltre in the heart of things. Joey Gallo batting sixth today. Calhoun in left field bats seventh. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa does the catching. And Drew Robinson with a start in center field rounds it out for the Rangers. All that against Jim Johnson. Johnson making his first start of the year. And the first start since his major league debut many moons ago, back in 2006. And his first offering right in there for a strike. 72 degrees as we get things going here tonight. Beautiful evening in Southern California. We had a lovely evening last night as well. The Rangers took the opener 5-2. Odor with a little bouncer right side of the infield, and a really good hustle play by Fletcher. Shovel that one to first, one away.
Let's take a look at our Shiner Light Blonde pitch arsenal for Jim Johnson getting the start tonight. He is an extreme sinker ball pitcher. He throws his sinker ball, two-seam fastball, 59% of the time. Only an occasional four-seam fastball. His breaking ball is a curveball, and occasionally he'll mix in a changeup. But for the most part, you're going to see a curveball and a sinker. And he has been a successful relief pitcher with that sinker for a long time. Had a nice career.
This is outside to Jurickson Profar, the switch hitter with 16 homers, 70 RBIs, batting second today. Getting it started first. That's a little wide as well. Johnson was a fifth-round draft pick by the Baltimore Orioles back in 2001. Worked his way through their minor league system, made his debut in 2006. It was the only game he pitched in that year in the big leagues, and it was a start in which he went 3 innings. He allowed 8 runs on 9 hits, and he would not start again until tonight. 666 appearances in relief since that start.
So what if he threw a no-hitter that day? Would that have just changed his whole career?
I wonder. I mean,
might have been the best thing that could have happened to him, getting bombed that day. I mean, this guy, he's had a couple of years, 2012, 2013, 51 saves and then 50 saves the next year. So he's been more than just an average reliever. He's been a frontline closer for a while.
Our Kubota power stats tonight on Jim Johnson. Make it a little bit of history tonight with this start. So his first start, July 29th of 2006. It's the longest stretch between a guy's first 2 big league starts, both in terms of time and in terms of appearances. It's really, it's pretty wild. And again, to your point, so he made that one start. You know, who knows? It's kind of hard for us to I mean, we could have done a little more research on it, I suppose, to figure out the conditions under which he made that start. But 51 saves 6 years later in 2012. He was an all-star. He was a 7th place finisher in the Cy Young Award voting that year. He was top 15 in MVP voting in 2012 with those 51 saves. And the next year, turned around and saved 50 more. Walks profile here. The Rangers have the first base runner of the night.
And when you look at his stuff, he's pretty much a 2-pitch pitcher. And I think his sinker has played really well in relief. Hasn't been a huge strikeout guy. Gets his share of strikeouts, but he's been a solid ground ball pitcher. Induces weak contact with a movement on that sinker. And his curveball's been pretty good too.
Andrus goes after the first pitch. Gets it straight up in the air to center field. Easy play for Trout. 2 gone.
Let's take a look at the Angels defense, brought to you by Jack in the Box tonight. For the Angels in the outfield, Justin Upton, Mike Trout, Cole Calhoun, pretty much their everyday outfield. Caleb Cowart will get the start at third base tonight. Jose Fernandez back at first base. Andrelton Simmons, David Fletcher, shortstop and second base. And behind the plate, rookie Joe Hudson.
So 2 gone. And Nomar Mazara, we were just talking about in the open, batting cleanup today, the designated hitter. He takes a little bit low. Ball 1. Nomar had the day off yesterday. Mazara's last 9 games, 12 hits and 34 at bats. And the 12 hits, well, 4 have been homers, 4 doubles, and he has 13 RBIs. So he's been swinging it really well. He started on Sunday in Oakland out of right field and got a sac fly in the first inning. Later in that game, he would walk. Very high here, 3-0. So Johnson getting the start tonight. I already pointed out the historic nature of that, just the length of time between this start and the first in his big league career. It's a bullpen day. He may go 1 inning, he may go 2. So by the way things have gone so far, it may well be just a 1 inning start for him, not one in there for a strike. They are prepared to use as many pitchers as necessary. This was a day that would have been, or could have been, Shohei Ohtani's spot. He's normally a Sunday pitcher for them, but after the injury, kind of threw the rotation into a state of flux again. This one down the left field line, hanging up there a little bit right on the line for Upton. And the inning is done. So the Rangers come up empty in the top of the first. And now we'll see Adrian Sampson. Well, scoreless top of the first inning. So now the Angels to take their hacks. 71 wins, 73 losses. Their starting lineup today features Cole Calhoun up top in right field. David Fletcher bat second, plays second. Then it's Trout, Ohtani the DH, Justin Upton in left. Andrelton Simmons plays shortstop. He'll bat sixth. Jose Fernandez, Caleb Cowart, and Joe Hudson, the catcher, rounded out for the Angels. Adrian Sampson out there tonight to make his first start as a Ranger. And his first offering a little bit low for a ball. So a little bit like his counterpart tonight for Sampson, 26 years old. It's a big night for him to be back out there on the mound to start a game. 2-0.
He got a chance to pitch in relief the other day, so he got his feet wet. He finished the season strongly at AAA Round Rock. And so hopefully he'll be relaxed, comfortable, and throw the ball the way he has been.
He gets a fly ball out to center field to start things tonight, one away.
The Shiner Light Blonde pitch arsenal for Adrian Sampson. Let's take a look at it. 2 pitches, a slider, which he throws more than his four-seam fastball. He's got good command, a really good slider. He keeps the ball down, moves it on both sides of the plate. Mentioned that he finished strong in AAA in his last 15 starts. He was 5-2 with a 2.33 ERA, and generally speaking, the Pacific Coast League is a pitcher's league. So to put numbers up like that for 15 starts is pretty impressive. Led the team in starts, wins, innings, strikeouts. He overcame serious shoulder arm operation, did the rehab, came back, and still only 26 years old. And has a chance to make an impression now in the last 3 weeks. Maybe position himself as he goes into spring training next year. A lot of opportunity if you're a starting pitcher. Other than right now, Mike Minor, the rotation is wide open, looking for candidates, looking for people to step up and perform.
Now Sampson, you mentioned it. I mean, it's been a long time since his last start. 2016 with Seattle. Made a start at Fenway Park against the Red Sox. Went 4 2/3 innings in that one. Threw 85 pitches. And ended up taking the loss. It was a 6-2 Mariners loss to the Red Sox at Fenway. And then he was warming up for his next major league start several days later at Detroit. And never did make it to the mound. Hurt himself. Had surgery to repair the torn flexor tendon. A week after the injury sustained in that warm-up session. And has gone through the long and sometimes very lonely and challenging rehab process. And here he is back on the hill. And a ground ball third base. Snagged by Beltre. True throw, and Fletcher retired 2 away.
Let's take a look at the Rangers defense delivered by Methodist Health System. For the Rangers tonight, Willie Calhoun gets the start in left. Drew Robinson gets the start in center. A little bit of a different look to the outfield with Joey Gallo in right field as well. Adrian Beltre will start at third. Jurickson Profar moves over to first. It's Elvis and Rugi up the middle, and behind the plate, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
Well, here's Mike Trout. First pitch from Sampson. That one fouled back just to the right of us. And Trout's numbers awfully impressive all the way around for him. You mentioned it last night, Tom. 111 walks, 111 strikeouts.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Hits this ball hard down the left field line. Steve, right to.
Well, Adrian, part of his game plan is to pound the fastball in on the right-hand hitters, make it tail in off their fists. And Trout hit that ball pretty well, but Adrian got it in there pretty well too. Now he can do whatever he wants. Push him off the plate with a fastball, go with a slider away, a little bit out of the strike zone. Hasn't seen that one yet.
He had 0-2. And he and Kiner-Falefa, they're actually to talk this one over. It will burn A mound visit here to make sure that they do have the right idea. And it looks like the idea, all Sampson's. He invited Isaiah out there just to let him know what he thought. Well, here it comes. Ball and 2 strikes. One, 2. And tried that breaking ball again.
You know, when you get ahead, no balls and 2 strikes, with a lot of right-hand hitters, you can get them to swing at those sliders out of the strike zone. Occasionally, Trout will do that, but when you've walked 111 times, you're pretty used to laying off that kind of a pitch.
It's a close fastball, a little bit up.
That's a great combination. Speed, power, batting average, and then you add the walks, and then you have the enormous on-base percentage numbers.
And to be at this point in the season and have an OPS, an on-base plus slugging over 1,000, that's pretty good. Ground ball up the middle. That's a sharp single for Trout. And so the Angels have their first base runner tonight.
They throw a strike with a fastball out over the plate. Trout's a really good low ball hitter. But if you can hold Mike Trout, last night he had a couple of infield hits. If you can hold him to 2-out singles, then it's not the end of the world. He's got a pretty good guy hitting behind him right now, though, Shohei Ohtani. He's been hot, player of the week last week. It's not like there's nobody behind him and you can always pitch around him. Ohtani swinging it pretty well right now. Good pitch right there. Ran that one in on his fists.
Sampson jumps ahead of him 0-1. He was ahead of Trout 0-2.
A little bit different playing the Angels without Albert Pujols. We're used to seeing him batting in the middle of the lineup. He's had surgery. He's out for the year.
I read today he's having an additional surgery as well. The surgery that has caused him to miss the remainder of the season, a knee surgery. They've also decided to clean up some bone spurs in his elbow now. 1 strike pitch, and Ohtani hits it sharply on the ground to second base. Backhand stopped by Odor, and the inning is done. So Sampson puts up a goose egg in his first inning tonight. We'll go to the second. #1 Rangers app. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. You get Rangers home screen icons, and of course things like MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news. A lot of stuff on there. Just download MLB At Bat today. All right, Adrian Beltre to start this second inning. Beltre with 12 home runs, and a lot of them have come lately. He just seems to have found that power stroke. Johnson breaks off a breaking ball for a strike, and the count 0-2. Beltre has always seen Jim Johnson pretty well. 7 for 10 against him with a home run. But he foul tips that one right into the mitt. And that strikeout starts the second inning.
After the curveball, the high fastball at 94 miles an hour was very effective. Got it by Adrian. Strikeout to lead off the second inning. Bullpen's working for the Angels. Mike Scioscia try to get 2 innings out of Jim Johnson if he can. 19 pitches so far for Johnson.
He's off the plate to Joey Gallo here. You see Joey's numbers: 35 home runs, 85 RBIs. And breaking ball misses very high. Big right-hander's 2-0. It's off the plate. There's a strike. Now our WinStar World Casino and Resort leaderboard. Joey Gallo, 35 home runs and 80 RBIs at least in consecutive seasons now. You look at the list of Rangers who have done that: Palmeiro, Gonzalez, A-Rod, Teixeira. Pretty good company. Gallo last year with 41 home runs and 80 RBIs. And this year they 85 RBIs on 35 home runs. And he takes ball 4. Gallo walks for the 70th time this year.
Yeah, Joey, for the most part of the season, has been in the top 10 in walks, which is a nice solid development. As you look at a development season, young players trying to get better, that's one way Joey can really add to his on-base percentage, is increase his walk totals.
Well, there's our first look of what we would expect to be many of Mike Scioscia headed to the mound tonight. It's a bullpen night here in Los Angeles. New pitcher coming on. In-and-out burger tonight, and it's the first of what will be many for the Angels this evening. Jim Johnson, the man who is out after an inning and a third tonight, and Noe Ramirez is the man who is in for the Angels, making his 64th appearance of the year.
Yeah, a lot of strikeouts, 85 in 75 innings. Pretty good opponent's batting average. Solid walk numbers. And not that many. Let's see, for Ramirez, 14 home runs in 75 innings. It's probably slightly on the high side.
Well, he gets Willie Calhoun here, left-handed hitter. With Gallo at first base, decent speed. Gallo can run a little bit. Calhoun takes ball one. You see Willie's numbers for the years. 5 doubles added to that as well. Not play yesterday. And it's only his second start since being recalled from Round Rock on Tuesday. This is his second go-round with the Rangers this year. He was up in late July through mid-August as well. Ramirez to the plate, 2-0, and that one's fouled back.
Ramirez made his first major league start on August 28th. Became the first player in Angel history to record a save one night and then make a start the following day.
Speaks a little bit to the era we are currently in, right?
Yeah.
That sort of stuff is beginning to happen.
Doesn't strike you as unusual when you hear something like that now.
Well, you think to yourself, well, I guess we might see that sort of thing with a little more frequency. Jim Johnson, the man he replaces, became the 16th different starting pitcher the Angels have used this year. That's most in the majors, tied with Tampa Bay. Swing and a miss by Calhoun. It's 2-2.
A good changeup from Ramirez. You can always tell the changeup many times by the way the hitter swings. When he kind of lunges, looks like he swings too soon. That's because he's fooled by the changeup, which goes slower than the fastball. You don't have much time to determine what kind of pitch it is. I think the great hitters determine a little bit sooner than the average hitters what the pitch is going to be. Whether it's going to be a ball or a strike. They don't swing at it as often when it's a bad pitch. They don't react negatively to an off-speed pitch quite as much as average hitters do.
So let me ask you this, Tom. You hear guys talking about picking up spin. Hitters had apparently adept enough to be able to do that. But how does a hitter identify a changeup?
It's very difficult to identify a changeup. You hope that the pitcher does something in his delivery that tips it off a little bit. But absent of that, you just have to develop the ability to see the pitch and react to it. I don't know that you can teach someone how to hit a changeup. Yeah. Obviously, you have to wait a little bit longer. But nowadays, the players have an extensive film library for every pitcher. You can go into the film room for a starting pitcher. Let's say he's pitched for 6 or 7 years, and you can see every at bat you've ever had against that pitcher over a 6-year period, and maybe see a trend that's developed where he's changed his style of pitching to you over the years, and what has he done recently. So it helps. It's not like you go into a game with no idea what the pitcher throws. If he only throws a fastball, a slider, and a changeup, at least you kind of identified the types of pitches that you have to look like on that given night. But I don't know that there's one way to teach someone how to hit a changeup. I mean, realistically speaking, if all you saw was the changeup and you knew it was coming, it would be the easiest pitch to hit because it's slower. It's usually 8 to 10 miles an hour slower. But the whole purpose of it is to keep you from gearing up and timing the fastball. Without off-speed pitches,
as great as the hitters are nowadays, if all they had to look for were fastballs, batting averages would go up significantly, and the pitchers' ERAs would go up significantly. It's the off-speed pitches which disrupt the timing of the hitter that lead to successful pitchers.
Well, after he showed that changeup to Calhoun, he came back with the fastball at 90.
Looked like
And
it was
honestly,
95.
At least. I mean, it was humming.
Yep, that's the whole purpose.
So as a hitter, did you find that to be the toughest
That was
thing?
my toughest combination. Good fastball with good location and a good changeup. That was very, very difficult for me. I always thought the toughest pitch to hit was the changeup.
1-2 pitch, and that one lifted down the left field line, but that will reach the seats. We'll do it again.
Bill Ziegler, our trainer for all the years that I played, was a great friend of Ted Williams, has studied Ted's methods pretty much his whole life. Said that Ted Williams used to say, you have 1/12 of a second to determine whether the pitch is going to be a ball or a strike. And that's probably true, because it only takes, what, 0.4 seconds for the ball to get from the pitcher's hand to home plate? 0.6 seconds, something like that. And so you have to determine whether you're going to swing at it way before it gets there. So you not only do you have to determine what kind of pitch it's going to be, you have to determine where it's going to be. And again, the great hitters just have the eye and the ability. They always said that Barry Bonds was just incredible, how long he could wait, choked up on his bat, how quick his bat was, but also that he recognized pitch recognition. He recognized what kind of pitch it was going to be and where it was going to be sooner than the rest of the players. And I don't think you can teach that. That's just something that you have the ability to do, whether it's your eyesight, your reflexes, knowing the pitchers. Not sure exactly what it is, probably a combination of those things and a couple of other things, but Barry Bonds had it like very few players who have ever played the game. That's why he walked 200 times one year. That and the fact that no one wanted to throw him a strike when he was hitting 73 home runs.
Sometimes they would walk him with the bases loaded. Runner goes, and a swing and a miss. Tanner Falefa chases strike 3, and the inning is done. Rangers leave another man. We've played an inning and a half, no score. tell you how excited I am to welcome in John Radigan.
Yeah, I can't tell you how excited we've been to watch Adrian Sampson, Dave, live his dream for a second time. You mentioned he had a big league start with the Mariners in 2016 and then blew out his elbow on the warm-ups for his next start. One of the reasons he's back living his dream again is because he also lived two nightmares known as elbow surgery. Of course, one to repair the flexor tendon. You talked about the tedium of the rehab he had to get that one healed. He also told me yesterday that he had Tommy John surgery when he was in high school, so he is no stranger to the rigors, the tedium, the boredom, the process of getting back from an elbow surgery. He is back on a big league mound and making a start, living his dream for a second time, guys.
Yeah, he was
that
so
is
excited.
a tidbit I didn't know, that he'd had the Tommy John surgery in high school.
Anymore. You see a guy out on the mound in a big league game, and we're getting to the point where you assume he's had that surgery at some point.
You either assume he's had it or that he's about to have it.
That's true. I tell you what an epidemic it has been. Then the question is, can you pace yourself and be as disciplined as you have to be coming back from the surgery to return, and he has done it. He goes 3-1 here on Justin Upton.
Yeah, and it's come so far over the years that there's pretty much now no guesswork. The doctors, the orthopedic surgeons, know how long it's going to take. The players have seen other players rehab. They recognize how long it's going to take. There aren't any shortcuts. There's a plan starting from day one of what you should be doing on a weekly basis. And if you're a big league pitcher and your career hangs in the balance, then you wake up every day and you say, okay, I'm going to suck it up and go out there and do exactly what the trainer tells me today, because I'm confident, based on what I've seen with other pitchers, that after a year and a little bit longer, I'm going to be healthy again and ready to pitch. But I'm not going to get there if I don't do the rehab, if I don't do exactly what they're telling me. It's pretty much a plan now that's well accepted by the players, by the pitchers.
This is a walk to Justin Upton here in the second inning. Now we'll look at Andrelton Simmons. He said that during his rehab process it was inspiring and very cool. In fact, he had very high praise for the way the Rangers handle pitchers working their way back from surgery. All of us down in Arizona, and you get up in the morning, you go out to the facility, you do the workouts together, you participate almost like a team. He's like, it's like we're a team. He's like, so as we, all kind of matriculate our way through this process, find yourself rooting for a guy at single A, guy at triple A. So runner goes, throw down to second, a good one, got him! Upton gunned down by Kiner Falefa for the first out of the inning.
Well, Isaiah, as a middle infielder, has quick hands, and he can get the ball from his glove to a throwing position quickly. And you'll see the throw a little bit high. Nice play by Ruge, though. Kind of an acrobatic play. Kind of jumping, sweeping with the tag at the same time. And as you watched Isaiah catch that ball, it was not an easy ball to catch and throw. It was down and away.
This ball well struck out to center field. Long run for Robinson, and he'll make the catch right before hitting the wall. And a really nice defensive play by Drew Robinson. 2 away.
Yeah, that was a really good example of how hard it is to catch a ball directly over your head. Last night, Mike Trout made a great play, but it was a little bit to his right. This one is almost directly over Drew's head. He turns one way, he turns the other way, had a pretty good idea where the warning track and the fence were, and ran it down. That's a really nice play on a play that's a lot more difficult than you would think, unless you've played out there and experienced what it feels like to have a ball hit that hard directly over your head. You really don't know what a difficult play that was.
Or you go from a leadoff walk, and then in the span of 2 pitches, there are 2 outs. And this ball hit well down the right field line and gone. Jose Fernandez with his first home run. And he has the Angels on top 1-0.
Well, Fernandez has the potential to be a pretty good hitter if you just look at the numbers he's put up this year. He hit over 330 in AAA, 350 at-bats. That was center square for him. And over his last 7 games, he's been hitting almost 350. So he got a good pitch to hit. He got a hitter's pitch. Not exactly where Adrian was trying to locate that ball. Sometimes you pop it up, sometimes you ground it, and sometimes you center it. And that's what he did with that one.
So the first run of the game goes to the Angels, and now Caleb Cowart takes low. Cowart, switch hitter. 138 average for the year for him. This low ball too. So Fernandez, you hit the first home run of the year. Yeah, thanks guys. That's cool. Oh man, come on.
Well, if anyone's going to throw it, Mike Trout's going to be the one that gets away with it. Not going to say much to him. He loved it. He said, I don't care if you ever talk to me when I hit a home run. Not going to take away the joy that I feel.
2-1 pitch, and this one lined softly to second base. And Odor with a nice backhanded catch. The inning is done. But the Angels get the first run of the night. We'll go to the third inning, 1-0. Done right. Well, first big league home run for Jose Fernandez. And he has the Angels on top 1-0. Now the Rangers and Drew Robinson will start things off here in the third. And Robinson's numbers for the year right there, and it's been an up and down year for Drew at the big league level. Saw him last year, maybe with a little more consistency last year. This is his third stint with the ball club in 2018, and he takes a strike from Noe Ramirez. Last year, Robinson had 6 home runs and 13 RBIs in 48 games. And that little tapper, that's a fair ball. Hudson grabs it with a bare hand and tags out Robinson. 1 out here in the third inning. And Jeff Bannister asking for a little clarity. Oh, as a hitter, Tom, that just has to be the most aggravating way for an at-bat to end.
It is. I think the worst way, well, it's no fun to strike out, but even worse than that is be ahead in the count, not commit yourself, and check swing a little ground ball back to the pitcher. Boy, I don't know about that.
I don't either.
The ball hits straight down with some spin on it, goes straight up in the air. You can see the catcher, Joe Hudson's, trying to get out as quickly as he can and catch the ball up in the air in front and not in foul territory. You know, it's tough to tell. I just have to go with Brian Gorman on that call. He's the home plate umpire. He was the closest one to it, right on top of it. It's a little bit tougher to tell from the side, and you know, rather than speculate, all you do is say there's a veteran umpire with a great reputation. If that's how he saw it, then I'm going to accept his call.
For Robinson, one of those, you know, pretty confident it's foul or going foul. You don't have a whole lot of time to do much with it regardless. And then poof, the bat's just gone.
It's just gone.
So 1-0.
And you know, you can say, well, when in doubt, run it out. It doesn't make any difference. You can run that out. The catcher's going to catch it and throw you out by 30 feet anyway. And if there's any subtlety to it at all where the umpire's not sure, if he sees you sprinting to first base, he's just going to be a lot easier to call it fair than if you just stand there and maybe deliver a little subtle message to the umpire that you know that ball's foul. It really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to run on that one, especially if you absolutely think it was foul, because you're going to get thrown out before you get halfway to first base anyway.
.3-0 from Ramirez. It's a strike call here. Ramirez has retired the first three hitters he has seen. Calhoun and Kiner Falefa on strikes. Robinson, that little tapper just a second ago. But he fell behind Odor pretty significantly, now trying to battle his way back. This ball lifted in the air, left center field. Hanging up there though. And Upton puts it away. All right, with two gone and Profar coming up, time for a Chevy game break as we say hello to Rick Renner. Yeah, that is just horrible news for the Oakland A's, and it was interesting the response from Oakland on that one. I mean, you would think it would sort of be devastating or whatever. Bob Melvin was kind of matter of fact about it, almost like a shoulder shrug, like, yeah, you know, what else is new? Another one down.
There's not much you can do about it. I don't know how many starting pitchers they've used or how many starting pitchers most teams use in the course of a year. You just have grown to expect that it's going to be highly unusual to go through a season without any injuries. The Astros have come pretty close to it this year. All their stars in that great rotation have stayed healthy. I guess Lance McCullers had an injury. I'm trying to think if any of the other guys have. I don't think they have. But for the most part, who you start with is not who you're going to finish with. So the depth that you develop in the minor league system, the minor league free agents that you sign that can become potential call-ups, the young pitchers that you develop, you have to have a lot of them, because in the course of the season, in today's game, with the injuries, you're going to need a lot more than the five you start out with. And you hope you have one or two maybe in the bullpen, so that you don't have to make a roster move and dip down in the minor leagues when you need a starter. That's what the Astros have. Colin McHugh, Brad Peacock have both been starting pitchers. They're both in the bullpen. So if you need a spot starter or someone to pitch multiple innings, they've got a couple of great guys in the bullpen.
Well, a walk to Profar continues the inning. Rangers have a base runner here in the third inning. Hey, don't miss any of the action for the final season at Globe Life Park. Full and half-season tickets for next year are on sale now. And as a season ticket holder for 2019, you'll secure your place in line for season tickets in the new Globe Life Field opening in 2020. Go to TexasRangers.com/seasons or call 972-RANGERS today. Quick visit is Charles Nagy out there to talk to Noe Ramirez. And the Angels, as one might understand, have the bullpen ready to go. It is a bullpen day today. Hansel Robles getting ready out there. So Tom, you were talking about the Astros in that rotation. The 5 starters this year for Houston: Verlander, Keuchel, Garrett Cole, Charlie Morton, and Lance McCullers Jr. They have made 139 starts, and the Astros have had to go outside of those 5 guys to get a total of 5 other starts this year.
I think almost all of them were for Lance McCullers. I might be wrong on that. Charlie Morton might have missed a start too. But the point is, that's unusual.
Josh James and Brad Peacock each made a start, and Framber Valdez has made 3 starts. And that's it. That's unusual today. It's unusual really in the last 20 years. You'd have a rotation that healthy, that solid over the course of 162 games.
Yeah, you've got to have 2 things. You've got to have 5 pitchers who pitch well enough to stay in the rotation. Not that big a threat with the guys that the Astros have, but then that they stay healthy enough too.
Check in on Profar over at first. Profar 10 for 10 in stolen bases this year.
And the other thing you have with the Astros that the veteran pitchers have to also contend with is last year, with a couple of rounds of playoffs and the World Series and the season going an extra month, there's a lot of extra innings, a lot of extra games, a lot of time spent pitching.
Profar running, but Andrews strikes out swinging. The inning is done. So the Rangers leave another man. 1-0 Angels to the bottom of the third. Logger for legendary moments. Rangers fans, this bud's for you. There are the big hats outside the big A. And there is Adrian Sampson out for his 3rd inning of work here tonight. 1-0 the score. Angels with the early lead. And Sampson will get the 9th place hitter, rookie Joe Hudson, to start things here in the 3rd inning. First pitch on the way to Hudson, and that one right on the corner for a strike. Hudson made his big league debut on Saturday. Pinch hit and then stayed in the game as a catcher. And in doing so, he became the 59th different player used by the Angels this year, and he turns that one foul. So I ran into their AAA radio announcer here, the Angels AAA radio announcer in Salt Lake, Steve Clocky. And he was telling me stories of life now in the Pacific Coast League with the way Major League rosters are used. He said they used 47 different pitchers at AAA.
What?
They used 13, they had 13 different position players pitch. 13 different appearances this year by position players at AAA.
That's
Salt Lake.
unbelievable.
Just to give you an idea of the trickle down of what's going on in baseball.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty nutty.
Well, then when you look at the Angels have used, let's see, 58 players, 36 pitchers, 16 starters. They've set a single season franchise record using 58 players. The Major League record for players used is 64 by the 2014 Rangers.
You want to have a conversation about injuries to a team.
Yeah. 64 players. That's almost turning the roster over 2.5, 3 times.
Well, this guy, Hudson, is now the 59th player.
It'll be tough for them to get to 64.
They're going to have to hustle.
Unless they're trying to break the record on purpose.
High fly ball out to short right field. Gallo makes the play. 1 out here in the 3rd inning.
And it's so nerve-wracking for an organization because you have to contend with a 40-man roster. You can't just go to the minor leagues and call up any player you want. If they're not on the 40-man roster, you have to create a space. And unless you're willing to risk losing a player through the waiver process, the claiming process, it's not that easy to filter out players off your big league roster. And so you try to have some players in the minor leagues who have options that you can call up and down. That's why so many times you'll see a guy has been called up and down 4, 5, 6 times because they don't want to have to clear roster space by outrighting somebody and calling someone up who's not on the big league roster. And so usually it's maybe a pitcher or two and a position player. Whenever you need someone, that's the guy because he's the one that has options. And I guess for big league service time, you're not in that bad a position because every time you get called up, you get the big league pay, big league benefits. But it's so nerve-wracking because you have to be on call. The general manager, the assistant general manager, you watch the game reports, you get calls from the minor leagues. We just had a player hit by a pitch and a pitcher go down. We're going to need 2 players here pretty soon. My poor minor league manager gets the call from the big league team. We need a starting pitcher. Call him at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and he said, well, you want this guy? Well, he's supposed to pitch for me tonight. That's too bad. We need him here in the big leagues. So then you go to your pitching coach at the AAA level and say, who in the world are we going to start tonight? They can't get anybody here in time for the game. Well, he started 3 days ago. We'll let him pitch 3 innings. We've got a couple of fresh arms out in the bullpen. We'll go as far as we can, and then we go to the position player if we have to. It's just kind of an everyday way of life now. And just looking back, I remember how difficult that was and how nerve-wracking it was. Sometimes at the big league level, you're getting beat 12-0, 10-1, and the only thing, you're not worried about the score of the game anymore. The only thing you're worried about is, will we have enough pitching to get through the game? And if we do, will we have a pitcher and enough guys in the bullpen for tomorrow's game? You have to go down and talk to your manager. What do you think about tomorrow? Well, I think we can get 3 innings out of the bullpen. Well, what if the starter gets knocked out in the first? Then we're not going to have enough. Okay, we better go down and get a pitcher for you that is on call. And it just, unfortunately, goes on from day 1 to the end of the season. Never stops.
Calhoun with a little pop out to left field, 2 away. So that would, I mean, when you talk about as a general manager, and you did it for, what, 10 years, the anxiety was, okay, I'm going to try and slide this guy through waivers, right?
Yeah.
And then you're just on pins and needles as he going to get claimed.
Yeah, and if you have to do that to create a space to call up someone who's not on the roster, then the risk is that you lose in many cases, not all the cases, but in some cases you're going to lose the player that you outright. So, you know, you probably got in the course of a season on a 40-man roster, you probably have one or two guys that you would be willing to take that risk with if you had to, and if you lost a player, it wouldn't be a crippling blow, but a lot of guys you just can't afford to lose.
Nifty play by Elvis Andrus to complete a 1-2-3 third inning for Adrian Sampson. And we go to the fourth, 1-0. As we go to the fourth inning, we're looking forward to Pandemonium. Rangers fans getting $1 tickets, $1 parking, and $1 hot dogs for the 105 day game on Wednesday, September 19th. And it's all courtesy of 105.3 The Fan. The Rays and Rangers, it's the last dollar hot dog day of the season. Use the online coupon code 1 at texasrangers.com/specials to take advantage of Pandemonium. Well, fourth inning, and Hansel Robles becomes the new pitcher for the Angels. He is the third man up today.
That'll be the 46th game for Hansel Robles. As is usually the case when a bullpen pitcher comes in, he has more strikeouts than innings pitched. ERA under 4.
He takes over for Noe Ramirez. Jim Johnson had the start, went an inning and a third. Ramirez an inning and 2/3. And now Robles.
Robles was a waiver claim from the Mets in the middle of the season. Well, I'm not sure what the circumstances were, but there's probably a case of someone who was outrighted and was claimed by the Angels and brought right to the big leagues. And that's actually a good rule and a fair rule for the player. If you don't have any options and you have to be outrighted, rather than automatically go to the minor leagues, you've probably played for quite a while, at least you have the opportunity to be claimed by any one of the other major league teams. And in a lot of cases, that's how a player, maybe like Robles, again, I'm not exactly sure of his circumstances, but it's how you get a chance to stay in the big leagues or get to the big leagues. If you could just outright people to the minor leagues from a big league roster without ever having the threat of losing them, then there'd be a lot of players that didn't get the big league service time that they're getting now. And that's the only fair way for the player. Didn't used to be that way a long time ago. Didn't have to worry about that as much. It's the same thing with the Rule 5 draft. After a player has played for a certain amount of years, and I won't go into the difference between a college player, high school player, and how many years that is, but after a certain amount of years, you have to protect someone on your major league roster. Otherwise, you risk the Rule 5 draft, where teams at the winter meetings can select a player who is eligible, who wasn't protected on a big league roster, and that's like Carlos Tocci. When you do claim someone like that in the Rule 5 draft, he has to stay in the big leagues. Had Carlos Tocci not been in that situation, there's no way he would have been in the big leagues this year, but he's going to get a full big league year of service time on his pension. He's going to make $500,000 because he was a solid enough player that he was attractive in the Rule 5 draft, and that's why the Rangers picked him. Now, he doesn't have to stay in the big leagues next year. He could go to spring training and earn his right to be on the big league team, and maybe he will. But if he doesn't, then the Rangers would be able to send him to the minor leagues.
Robles, 2-2 here with Beltre. Beltre shoots it to the right side, out of play. I mean, all the stuff you're explaining, and it's all good stuff, right? It's all important things to understand. It just blows my mind, all the challenges a general manager has. And we talk about, well, why don't they just do this? Why don't they just do that? It's just
most of the time, believe me, if it was as easy as why didn't you just do this, they already would have done it. They are not doing anything without putting a lot of effort and planning into it. And that's why you have a staff. That's why you have assistants. There's the Rangers general manager, John Daniels. And, you know, the way I've tried to explain it is the best I can explain it. I'm trying to do it in a simple way that anyone can understand, but it's generally a lot more complicated and subtle than the way I just explained it. But it's a rough view of how nerve-wracking a season can be with injuries. The other thing is, it's tough to predict how everyone on your team is going to play. Coming into the season, you may have great anticipation for a player who may not do anything and have to get sent to the minor leagues.
High pop-up in the short right field, playable for Fletcher, the second baseman. There are two gone. Here comes Joey Gallo.
I can remember when the first time I made a major league team, I didn't have any more options. And I wasn't sure if I was going to make the team or not. And I remember it was the end of spring training, and back then it was a little more difficult. Players didn't have the kind of money, and you know, I had a U-Haul trailer packed up. My wife was going to drive it to wherever I ended up playing, and several of the other wives were in the same position. They were going to drive together, and it's about 2 days before the end of spring training, and I wasn't able to tell my wife whether she would be driving to Denver with a baby and a U-Haul or whether she'd be driving to Arlington, Texas. And finally I said, the heck with it. And I went into Ted Williams and I said, I know you might not be prepared to answer this question, but these are the circumstances, and if you know, it would be very helpful to me if you would be able to tell me. And he said, you're going to make the team. But not congratulations, you're going to make the team, not a handshake. It's like a very annoyed, you're going to make the team. I don't think he appreciated the question, but even though I was petrified to go in and ask that question, the well-being of my wife driving that car outweighed it. And so I sucked it up, went in and did it, and got the answer.
That's true love, Kathy, right there.
It is.
That is true love.
It is.
Walking into Ted Williams' office. Yeah, that's no pleasure. Swing and a miss by Gallo. Inning done. We go to the bottom of the fourth, 1-0. GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer today. Another big A here in Anaheim. And we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Mike Trout will lead things off for the Angels. Trout, Ohtani, and Upton. Rangers into a shift for the right-handed hitter. First pitch upstairs for ball. Trout is our TXU Energy power player to watch. And he could be every night, every game he plays. His 8th big league season. Second player with 220 homers, 220 doubles. Pulls that one foul. And 180 stolen bases in his first 8 major league seasons. Yeah, Trout and Barry Bonds. Speed, power, production.
You know, when you've got a player like Trout, there's probably 15 or 20 little juicy tidbits like that you can toss out there about him. He's the only player in history to have 25 home runs and 25 stolen bases against the Rangers.
Takes high, 3-1. So let's compare Barry Bonds and Mike Trout. First 8 big league seasons. Bonds with more games, but Trout with more home runs. Bonds had him in doubles, and by a long shot, had him in stolen bases. Look out.
Yeah, Barry Bonds stole over 500 bases. Won 7 MVPs. 5 of them before the accusations of steroid use. Won 6 Gold Gloves to go along with it. You talk about an all-time great. When you talk about who's the greatest player of all time, we did that on the pregame show the other day. I think most of us feel like Babe Ruth was, just because what he did as a pitcher. Won 94 games as a pitcher, had 325 innings pitched in back-to-back years. When he was like 21 in the World Series for the Red Sox, he won his only start, a 14-inning complete game victory. So his record as a position player is obvious, but when you add what he did as a pitcher, no one comes close to him. But if you just look at the offensive numbers, Barry Bonds is right there with him, if not ahead of him, when you consider all-around player. A guy that stole 500 bases, won 6 Gold Gloves, set the all-time home run record, the all-time walk record, had an on-base percentage one year of over 600.
Sampson lost control of that one, and a fastball at 93 miles per hour, way too close to Trout's head.
Well, that's scary. Mike was able to turn into it. It glanced off his shoulder. Very scary, but I have a lot of respect with the way that Mike reacted after that pitch. I don't think he felt like it was intentional. And he put his bat down, never looked at the pitcher, and went to first base. I always admired Will Clark for that, too. That's the way Will Clark played the game. And nowadays, you throw one within a foot of a player, and they want to jaw and look out at the pitcher and go through all sorts of antics, knowing that nothing's ever going to happen because people are going to get in the way. I respect the players that handle it just like Mike Trout. You're not happy, doesn't feel good, put your bat down and go to first base.
He bluffs. And the pitch comes inside and gets away from Kiner Falefa. Trout, the second base on what will be scored, probably a wild pitch. Took a nasty hop on Isaiah. So Sampson lost one inside and hit Trout. I think gives him second base with a wild pitch. And so Ohtani with a count 1-1 and a great RBI spot here for the Angels. Pulls that one foul for strike 2. Talking about the great players of all time, you mentioned and explained, I think we all agree Babe Ruth still gets that distinction. But I don't, certainly in my lifetime, there was never a person who quite stopped a stadium or an audience the way that Barry Bonds did. I mean, you could not miss a moment when he was up there.
No, it's hard to look past his final years and the 73 home runs. I think people feel pretty confident in saying that he may have been using some substances that weren't permitted. But at the same time, before he ever did that, if he did it, I'm not going to make any accusations, but before that point in time, he'd already won 5 Most Valuable Player awards. He was already going to the Hall of Fame. I think he, at least as the story goes, just got to the point where he was fed up with all the notoriety that Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were getting, and said, "Okay, fine. I'm gonna even the playing field and let you know who's really the best home run hitter." And if that's the case, that's certainly when he went out and proved. But if he never did that, he still would have gone down into the Hall of Fame. Home runs might have been down a little bit. Walks might have been down a little bit, but the overall numbers would be pretty much just as impressive.
Well, I'd say this. Had he not done that, he probably is in the Hall of Fame. But the fact that he did have those years,
he's not
under that cloud of suspicion.
Yeah,
he's not.
Yeah, that's
probably
a good point.
Won't
get. Yeah, that's why to me it's such. If someone said to me, "We would love for you to be on the Hall of Fame committee and get a vote every year," I would say no. I don't want to, because it's so hard to determine. How do you decide? And I've heard baseball experts, all of whom I respect, have different opinions on it. Evan Grant, I've talked to him a lot about it. He has a vote. Listen to Tim Kirchian, you name it. All the well-known experts. And there's no consensus on exactly how you determine that. And it's just so unfair that the people that were caught are the ones that are the ones that are punished, and everybody knows a lot of the others who weren't caught, and maybe they're not. And then there's some who never did anything and get blamed just because they grew up and performed great during that time. And that's unfortunate as well.
2 balls and 2 strikes on Ohtani, who, by the way, is kind of emerging as the guy, somewhat like Bonds, where people stop and pay close attention. He's been pretty magical with 2-2 pitch, and that one is inside. And what a battle here between Sampson and Shohei Ohtani.
It's interesting to watch Kiner Falefa block that last pitch. It was a similar pitch as the pitch that got by him for the wild pitch. He tried to backhand that one. This one, almost the same pitch. He goes down on one knee, puts his glove between his legs, and blocks it with his chest. So you're not looking at a kid that grew up as a catcher. And for him to be catching in the big leagues with as little experience as he has, he's doing a fantastic job. And that's a good indication that he learned from one opportunity to the next.
Ohtani swings and misses. Big strikeout for Adrian Sampson. One away here with the 4th inning.
He took something off this pitch and threw him a changeup, 86 miles an hour. Ohtani, after seeing everything hard, wasn't able to make any contact with that pitch. Good battle and good job by Adrian winning out with the strikeout right there. First strikeout of the game.
So 1 out, and Upton, who walked in the 2nd inning, was then caught stealing moments later, takes ball 1. Last thing on Bonds. Bonds was never a favorite with the media. Never.
And probably something that was well-deserved.
Indeed. And he still won all those MVPs.
Yeah.
You think back to...
Came back to bite Ted Williams.
Yeah, I mean, there are guys who didn't win MVPs because of their bad relationships with the media. And then there are guys like Bonds who, despite his bad relationship, and I think it was every bit as bad as anyone, he still won 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, they say that Ted Williams, I believe the year he hit 406, one voter left him off the MVP ballot. He didn't even get a 10th place finish on that guy's ballot after hitting 406.
Ground ball, third base by Upton.
And
Beltre has it.
he lost a close vote because of that one vote. Definitely came into effect during that MVP voting process. But yeah, you're right on Barry Bonds. He won by such a landslide they couldn't do anything about it.
Two away now. Ted Williams, when he won the Triple Crown in 1947, didn't get the MVP. He was second that year.
StatCast AI powered by AWS is going to show us the play that Drew Robinson made on Andrelton Simmons his first time up. He had to run 75 feet to run that ball down in dead center field. He did a nice job. It wasn't an impossible play, but center fielders are expected to make those kind of plays because they're the most talented outfielders, usually the fastest, and they're playing center field because of their ability to make plays like that. But it doesn't take away from the fact that it's still a very nice play. Just shows how talented center fielders are. And Drew hasn't played center field all that much.
Well, might get another opportunity. Simmons sends this one deep to center and back to the wall again. Robinson takes it away. Now Sampson shaking his head as he walks off the field, but another scoreless inning for him. We go to the 5th, 1-0.
Paid tribute to nearly 3,000 Americans who lost their life on this day 17 years ago today. We also honored the first responders. There was a ceremony at the Pentagon, another target where 184 died. And finally in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where 40 brave Americans banded together to thwart the last terror attempt and lost their lives in the process. Ironically, Jeff Bannister was only 30 or 40 miles away from Shanksville. He was in Pittsburgh then, in the Pittsburgh organization, and his first thought was of his wife Karen, who had a teaching job at a school that was very near NASA, and at that point, he didn't know maybe NASA would be a target as big as it was in the American culture at the time. Joey Gallo's family was very close to this too. His mom and dad are both from New York, and Joey's mom's uncle Mike was in the transit authority, a welder, and literally spent days cutting, using his welding torch and cutting through metal and debris to try and clear the area and help to find survivors and victims of that horrific terrorist attack. We wanted to mention Joey's great uncle Mike and all the first responders and remind them that we will never forget, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for that too, John. I mean, great job getting some of the background stories on that 17 years ago, and a day that is well, for always will be associated pretty closely with baseball as well, as Calhoun leads things off here in the 5th inning. Calhoun, Kiner Falefa, Andrew Robinson here in the 5th inning. Count quickly 0-2.
You know, the older you get, the less reliable your memory is, and I can speak from experience on that. But 17 years ago, that day, almost hour by hour, is something that I'll always remember. We were in San Francisco. I remember waking up, seeing it, walking around town, and seeing people walking around with dazed looks on their faces, going back to the hotel. That's just a day you never forget.
Calhoun grounds out, one away here in the 5th inning. And well, today Major League Baseball and its home clubs honored those who lost their lives on this day 17 years ago, and the brave men and women who serve our country every day. Many teams around the nation honored first responders and public service personnel. A We Shall Not Forget silhouetted batter ribbon is displayed throughout ballparks and on special lineup cards and base jewels. On-field personnel, including players, coaches, and umpires, are wearing caps with the side patch of the ribbon as well. Major League Baseball is donating all of its royalties from the sales of these caps to the National September 11th Memorial and Museum, as well as the Pentagon Memorial Fund and the Flight 93 National Memorial. So Major League Baseball, of course, I think will forever recognize the impact of 9/11 on the country and the nation's consciousness, and good to see them not just doing that, but also then using some proceeds from that, all the proceeds from that, and giving back to these fine charities. One out here in the 5th inning, and Kiner Falefa, who was 0 for 1, struck out in the 2nd inning. And he chops this one to the right side of the infield. Nice high hop for Fletcher. Quickly, 2 gone. So Cam Bedrosian, a pretty uneventful and yet very effective entry into this ball game so far.
Yeah, he's a power arm out of the bullpen. Hard, boring fastball. Not unusual to see a hitter hit the ball toward the handle and hit a little weak ground ball to the infield. At least that's what he's trying to do out there.
His first offering to Drew Robinson right in there for a strike. Robinson had an unfortunate at bat in the 3rd inning. A little chopper right in front of the plate, and Hudson grabbed with his bare hand and just tagged him out. Drew does have good power, and he's always been a very selective hitter, especially in the minor leagues. You can see it when you look through his minor league numbers. A guy who has done a great job of managing at bats. Sees a lot of pitches, all attributes you think would translate very well at the big league level. The Rangers still hold out a lot of hope that he can put it all together here at this level. And a hard ground ball up the middle, backhand stop Fletcher. Nice throw back across his body to get Robinson, and it's a 1-2-3 5th inning. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Bottom of the fifth inning, Angels with a 1-0 lead. We look at our progressive upcoming schedule. Wrap this thing up tomorrow, another night game, and then down to San Diego for a weekend series. Interleague play with the Padres. Then it's the final homestand of the year, the Rays, the Mariners, which leads into the last road trip this season. The season winding down quickly in 2018. And the first pitch here of the fifth inning, a little high to Jose Fernandez. Fernandez has provided all the offense tonight for both teams with his first big league home run back in the second inning. And he shoots this one to the left side, foul and out of play. It's 1-1. Fernandez. Years old, turned 30 years old right at the beginning of the season. Fouls that one away. Born in Cuba and played a handful of years in their professional league down there. Did not play in 2015 or 16. He was making his way stateside. Getting himself, of course, settled in so he could play Major League Baseball. Played 8 years in the Cuban National Series. He swings and misses, striking out to begin this fifth inning. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with Rick Renner. You, Rick? He's a heck of a player, man. Heck of a ball player. Trevor Story, and he has the Rockies right now on top in the National League West. Meanwhile, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks going through all kinds of turmoil on their own. I saw the Diamondbacks shaking up their bullpen. They're going bullpen by committee now the rest of the way. Cowart lifts this one high in the air out to right field, and a can of corn for Joey Gallo, 2 away. Kind of intrigued by that National League West division. I mean, Colorado, a good young team, a lot of talent. I guess I had a hard time seeing the Dodgers not winning it for a 6th straight year. And yet that's very much a reality. A game and a half out going into play tonight.
Yeah, I think when you get 3 weeks left in the season and 3 teams jammed together like that, I don't know that anyone is favored over the other teams. Just a matter who plays the best over the last 3 weeks. Any team can get hot. Any team can get cold. So let's see who gets hot.
So Hudson rolls one to shortstop. Andrews right there. Not to move his feet. The throw is high though, and Hudson dives in underneath it. Well, Hudson with a 2-out hustle play. They'll reach on the error. You see Don Wakamatsu checking upstairs. Let's see if the replay shows something different. Let's take a look at what we have.
That's one of those, did he touch him before he got there? This ought to tell.
Oh yeah,
I think he's out.
He's out.
If he touched him, he's out by a foot.
Yeah, so they're going to go ahead and challenge this. Rangers sending this back to New York. Hudson, meanwhile, happy to stay put at first while it's under review.
I love the effort by Hudson diving into first base. But it sure appeared that Jurickson tagged the back of his leg, and this one won't last very long.
No, our Ford replay challenge. A short one, and Hudson is out. 6-3 put out takes us to the 6th inning. When we come back, Rangers looking to get something going. Odor, Profar, and Elvis Andrews due up. Well, the Seven Kingdoms can all agree that Globe Life Park is the perfect venue to enjoy a baseball game. Don't miss the second annual Game of Thrones theme night, September 17th through the 19th. Purchase tickets through this theme night offer and receive a limited edition Odor bobblehead. Fans will also be able to take their picture on the Iron Throne. Get your theme night tickets exclusively at TexasRangers.com/theme night. There's something new. New pitcher for the Angels. Justin Anderson now is the 5th pitcher of the night.
Yeah, you can look at those numbers and pretty much determine he's not fun to hit against. 64 strikeouts in 51 innings and a 204 opponent's batting average. The Rangers need to get a hit here.
Yeah, it's getting to that kind of critical time.
Yeah, it is. Need to get a hit and score a run or two.
Anderson taking over here in the 6th inning. Top of the order, though. Odor at the left side, and he takes outside for a ball. 96 miles per hour with that fastball from Anderson. Rugi is grounded out to second, flied out to left. Odor did not play in yesterday's opener. 1-1 to count. Even with the day off, he has put up some pretty big numbers since the All-Star break. How about Rugi's 12 home runs? Third most in the American League since the All-Star break. One shy of his teammate, Joey Gallo. And the two of them trailing Chris Davis in Oakland, who has 20 home runs already in the second half. 1-1 pitch. That one misses in.
What does a Ruckman owner smell like?
Well, the Rangers have had 3 base runners tonight, all 3 coming via the walk, and none of them advancing past first base. A bullpen day for the Angels, and more I think we're going to see these types of things from teams. This is not the opener starter trend that the Tampa Bay Rays have exploited so well in the American League East. This is simply a day where the Angels don't have somebody to start the game, and they have a deep enough bullpen. They figure they could just cobble it together. And so far, so good for them. Jim Johnson an inning and a third. Noe Ramirez an inning and 2/3, and now they're just trying to go inning by inning, I think, from that point. Nice job by Odor to step out for a moment and try and break up the rhythm of Anderson. 2-2. That one gets away. It's a full count.
Take a look at the StatCast spray chart for Rugi. Favors the right side. Most of them, the highest percentage is straight up the middle. Next highest would be in the second base area, but still good number of balls hit to the left side too.
The payoff pitch, that one fouled away. You know, we've talked about Odor ad nauseum here in the second half, and I think you made the good point when we were in Oakland, which is, hey, at some point we need to just accept that Rugi is just having a great year.
Right.
But you look at the defense that the Angels throw out there right now, and the way they play him. I mean, it's just a modified traditional setup on the infield. I think that tells you maybe everything you need to know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
He does pull this one, but right to Fletcher at second base, and he's 1 out. All right, let's take advantage of a little moment here and check in with our friends at Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Well, Anderson took care of Odor, and now looks at Jurickson Profar, who has walked both times he's been to the plate. Takes a strike this time from Anderson. Jurickson now with 50 walks with the 2 that he has today, and that's against 72 strikeouts. And you know, in the context of where things are in today's game, that is really, really good balance. And then you take into account that he's hitting for good power this year, the 16 home runs and 70 RBIs. This has been a tremendous year for Jurickson Profar. Today, playing first base. He taps that one foul. Anderson's 0-2. A little high, 98. So it's the other thing about these bullpen days. You start seeing those sort of back of the bullpen power arms as early as the 5th, 6th inning of a game, and it's unrelenting. Rangers without a hit so far through 5 1/3. Very high, 2-2. Profar in the last 23 games hitting nearly 290. In fact, second half he's hitting 275. He comes up 50 here and a strikeout makes it 2 out in the 6th inning. Well, looking ahead, a Coca-Cola family pack offers savings of more than 50% on things like tickets, food, kids zone access, souvenir programs, and Coke soft drinks. A family pack is a great way to catch the Rangers when they face the Rays September 17th through the 19th. Go to TexasRangers.com/specials and get your Coca-Cola family pack today. Well, 2 gone. And here is Andrus. He'll take a strike.
If you look at the bullpen day, the Angels have a pretty good bullpen to do that with. Their ERA, bullpen ERA, is 6th in the American League. They lead Major League Baseball in inherited runners scored percentage. And they've got the 2nd most innings pitched to Tampa Bay. That makes sense that Tampa Bay would have the most. They've been doing the opener, use a bullpen pitcher to start the game more than any other team. But the Angels have used their bullpen a lot as well, 2nd most, and they've had a lot of success. So it stands to reason if you get them on a bullpen day, you're going to see a lot of good arms coming out of the game.
There's a pretty big swing by Elvis. 1-2 the count.
A lot of movement on that pitch.
Now the 1-2. Very high. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of velocity on it too. 97.
Dort grounded out. Profar struck out. Rangers still looking for their first hit in this one. 2-2 from Anderson in the dirt. When you were playing, Tom, how many bullpen days did you see?
I don't remember ever seeing a bullpen day. When Fergie Jenkins was pitching, you didn't see the bullpen, let alone a bullpen day. Hey, Lord Perry. Guys in the bullpen went out there and had tacos in the 6th inning. They knew they weren't pitching.
Ground ball deep to the hole, but not deep enough. Simmons throws out his counterpart. It's another 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the 6th, 1-0. On this Patriot Day, USAA honors those who have served and all of our service members at home and abroad. September 11th, 2018, and we welcome you to the Big 8 here in Anaheim. The Rangers so far have been no hit through 6 innings. Trail 1-0 to the Angels. Jose Fernandez with the home run, and that is it. C.D. Pelham has come on here in the 6th inning out of the bullpen.
Those are his numbers in the minor leagues, and we've seen him a couple of times in the big leagues. Nice arm. Fastball around 97 miles an hour. Hard breaking ball. Getting a chance to show what he can do. Coming in to face a left-hand hitter. And a veteran left-hand hitter.
Yeah, he gets the top of the order in this 6th inning. Calhoun, Fletcher, and Trout. After Adrian Sampson went 5 innings in this one tonight. Nicely done by Sampson. Only 2 hits and 1 earned run allowed. He did about all he could. 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. So C.D. Pelham, first man up out of the bullpen. Finally had a chance to chat a little bit with Pelham today. What a delightful young man. My goodness. The smile on his face ear to ear when talking about just being here in the big leagues. It's really a thrill to see these guys and capture just a little bit of that excitement as he strikes out Calhoun 1 away here in the 6th.
Yeah, I think the one thing that you want to show as a left-handed reliever, one of the things you want to show, not the only thing, but is that you can be a force against left-handed pitchers. Managers like to have lefties out in the bullpen that can neutralize left-hand hitters. Not quite as important if you've got several right-handers who can do the same thing, but generally speaking, it's in your best interest to be able to get left-hand hitters out.
So strikeout to start things for Pelham. He gets the first one in for a strike on Fletcher now. Make it 0-2. Fletcher has grounded out a couple of times already tonight. Once to third, once to short. The Angels only have 2 hits tonight. This ball hit well out to left field, but went to Calhoun. 2 away. Time now for our Wells Fargo look ahead. And we're going to jump way ahead. We're going to head to that weekend series in San Diego. Still a couple of days away, but Ronald Guzman and another, although more veteran first baseman, Eric Hosmer for the Padres. A couple of guys who can handle themselves around the bag. Very similar looking offensive numbers as well.
Hosmer signed the huge free agent contract to hit in the middle of the Padre lineup. He's a terrific first baseman, just like Ronald is. San Diego's not a hitter's paradise, but I think you'd still have to say that Hosmer's first season in San Diego did a little bit less than they expected.
Pelham 96 down the middle to Trout. 1-1 the count.
And he's throwing a lot of strikes. 7 out of 8 pitches have been strikes.
Two and one. We were talking earlier about the bullpen day concept that we're seeing tonight from the Angels. And more and more you see some of this. There was a doubleheader today, the Nationals and the Phillies. Nationals swept that doubleheader from Philadelphia. The two teams used 24 different pitchers in that doubleheader. 24. Welcome to September. Scioscia doesn't mind. I mean, in his mind, it's like, oh, those are the rules. You can use them. 3-1 pitch. And there's ball 4. So Trout is on. In fact, he's been on all 3 times tonight. A base hit, he's been hit by a pitch, and now the walk. And so that makes for a fun matchup here. The young power arm of C.D. Pelham against the young phenom, Shohei Ohtani.
We'll see if Mike Trout tries to steal second base. Still a big part of his game. 22 out of 24 this year. So he picks his spots, and generally when he goes, he's safe.
Pelham misses in on Ohtani. Ohtani, we learned last week, it's been recommended that he undergo Tommy John surgery for what they found as new damage to that ligament in his right elbow. And yesterday, Mike Scioscia saying, well, we'd like to see him to DH the rest of the year. Out in the dirt. 2-0. As long as that's not going to do him any harm, and that's what they feel right now, then they'll forego the pitching for the remainder of the season. And if Ohtani's agreeable, Scioscia would like to see him continue to hit every day as the DH. And as Scioscia pointed out, he's like, if he does, then in Scioscia's mind, it's a slam dunk, no doubt about it, rookie of the year for Ohtani.
Well, his offensive numbers will be solid, even though he won't have the at-bats that Miguel and Duhar, Gleyber Torres, 2 really outstanding young rookies that the Yankees have. He won't have their at-bats, but he'll have something else. He'll have some pretty good pitching numbers to put up there, too. I guess we'll find out how the voters feel about that. But the combination of Ohtani's nice offense and nice pitching numbers add up to more than a full season of offensive performance by those 2 really good young Yankee position players.
He has 12 home runs since the All-Star break, as he's gotten maybe a little more regular at bats. And he takes a strike. 2-1. Already joined Babe Ruth as the only players ever to hit 15 home runs and pitch at least 50 innings in a season. Pelham's 2-1. And a swing and a miss. That'll even the count at 2-2.
High heat, 96.
So the rookie Pelham trying to finish off this inning and finish off Ohtani. Trout runs a 2-2 pitch in the dirt. Throw down to second base, not in time. Trout with his 23rd stolen base of the year.
No contest on that one. What you'll always worry about if you're Mike Scioscia is the fact that Mike Trout slides head first. And he's got that mitten on his left hand because of an injury he sustained doing just that, the head first dive. But that's the way he's most comfortable sliding.
Bouncer left side of the infield. And Andrews throws out Ohtani. The inning is done. C.D. Pelham with a goose egg in the 6th. 7th inning on the way. 1-0 Angels.
For the Angels, starter was Jim Johnson. He went 1 1/3, no hits, no runs. Noe Ramirez 1 2/3, no hits, no runs. Hansel Robles 1 inning, no hits, no runs. Cam Pedrosian with a strong inning, 1 inning, no hits, no runs. And Justin Anderson, a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout, no hits, no runs. 6 innings, no hits, no runs for the Angel bullpen. And now we're going to see Jose Alvarez. He's been in 71 games already. He's having an outstanding season. Nice ERA, 2.59. Really nice opponent's batting average, 2.25. And he'll come in for the 7th inning. And again, a bullpen night for the Angels. And through 6 innings, it's been very successful. No hits, no runs for the Angels.
And so Alvarez becomes the 6th pitcher of the night for the Angels. And the most pitchers ever used in a no-hitter is 6. Done twice. Astros and Yankees, that was the groundbreaking effort in 2003. And then the Seattle Mariners did it to the Dodgers in an interleague game. In fact, both interleague games. The very different nights, though. That the Houston one in 2003 was a night where I want to say Roy Oswalt was injured very early in that one, through 1 inning. And then they had to bullpen it the rest of the way, whereas the Dodgers and Mariners effort, Millwood went 6 no-hit innings in that one for Seattle before turning it over to his bullpen from there. Anyway, this one different from those 2, and then it was a planned bullpen night.
So in the case of those past multiple pitcher no-hitters, generally after a no-hitter, the pitcher is mobbed out on the pitcher's mound, everybody jumping up and down. So in those games, chances are the last pitcher pitched maybe 1 inning. Do the players sprint out of the dugout and jump up and down with that last bullpen guy? Did the other pitchers come running out of the clubhouse and
with the other
join the
pitchers
celebration
upstairs?
Or do you celebrate at all? I don't remember seeing that.
I don't remember either.
Dave Burchett just asked, does John Radigan line them all up and interview each one of them?
Swing and a miss by Mazzara. It's 2-2.
Well, the one thing we're going to be hoping for tonight is we don't have to worry about that. Someone's going to line a base hit. And the Angels, they only have the one run. It was Fernandez's home run back in the second inning. It won't take much to overtake them in the runs totals. It's got to start with some kind of a base runner.
Well, Mazzara strikes out to begin this 7th inning.
Rangers had 3 walks. Jerks and Profar walked twice. Joey Gallo has walked once. A well-located fastball right on the outside corner. That's 7 strikeouts for the Angels. And 6. 7.
Beltre now the batter, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Before this inning started, I just had a feeling that this would be the inning in which the Rangers would get their hit. But Tom, I'm getting strong premonitions that it's going to be Beltre.
Okay.
Bouncer third base. Coward throws him out. 2 away. Anyway, you can forget that.
I want to predict that Joey Gallo goes deep, since no one's hit more home runs against left-handed pitching this year than he has.
Love it.
Joey had a good night last night. He ripped that double in the second inning down the right field line to give the Rangers a 2-0 lead. And then late in the game, he drove in an insurance run in the 8th inning with a well-hit base hit to right field. Rangers won that game last night 5-2. Young players, big part of it. Joey had 3 RBIs. Ronald Guzman had a 2-run homer.
Okay. Another quiet half inning for the Rangers hitters. A 1-2-3 for Alvarez takes us to the bottom of the 7th, 1-0. USAA, insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. Fantastic view inside the ballpark tonight. 1-0. Angels on top here as the bottom of the 7th beckons, and Eddie Butler coming on here for the Rangers. Real nice job by C.D. Pelham last inning. Butler going to get Upton, Simmons, and Jose Fernandez here in the 7th. Angels only have 2 hits. And they have the 1 run, the home run by Jose Fernandez. The Rangers, no hits so far. So here's Upton. He walked, grounded out. He was also caught stealing earlier tonight. And Butler's first pitch off the plate.
Eddie Butler for this season. Combined total of 21 games. Fastball, slider, curveball, and a changeup.
And 1 the count. Upton, it's been a good year. 26 home runs, 77 RBIs for him. He does strike out quite a little bit, 157 times. But he has been a big answer to a bigger question for the Angels, which is he has filled left field for them in a way they had been unable to fill it for many, many years. Good breaking ball, and that's strike 2. Look at his overall numbers this year, and they're pretty good. He's done most of his damage here at home. Lights that one off. Count stays 2-2. 18 of his home runs here at home, 8 on the road. And nearly double the number of RBIs at home. The thing about Upton, man, he is a big fantasy football guy, which reminds me, how did you do?
I went 1-1.
Okay.
My teams were very mediocre. Going to have to get better. Going to have to work at it this year.
Upton found that one off, and he's claiming that it hit the dirt. Gorman claiming that it was caught. And now Scioscia wanting a little more explanation. Let's see. I don't like that angle too much. Upton, that's a tough break for him. And a strikeout starts the 7th inning. Butler happy with it. Andrelton Simmons now 0 for 2, a couple of fly ball outs to center. And he takes ball 1. Simmons just a shade under 300 for the year. And hits this ball on the ground, but right to the second baseman. Rougned Odor positioned well. And the throw pulls Profar off the bag, but it gets a tag on Simmons, 2 away. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's say hi again to Rick Renner. And running a little short on time. All right, Eddie Butler faces 2 hitters, gets 2 outs. And Jeff Bannister goes deeper into his pen. Local Buick dealer today. A 1-0 score here, and Martin Perez coming in out of the bullpen now.
Yeah, numbers from Martin, not what he hoped for, not what we expected. And now he's trying to transition for the rest of the season into a bullpen role. And he's working hard at it, and hopefully he'll be able to adapt to it and have a nice 3 weeks as the season winds down. He'll face the home run hitter, Jose Fernandez.
All right, so bottom of the 7th inning, 2 outs, nobody on. Fernandez with his first major league home run. That was back in the 2nd inning.
Time now for our Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. We mentioned the home run hitter. This game is 1-0, and that's why. 2nd inning, Jose Fernandez launched a home run to right field, and that is the scoring in this ball game. 1-0 Angels.
But a slow night offensively for the Rangers, but the good news is it doesn't take much at this point to turn the game
Angels
the opposite direction.
Angels only have 2 hits.
A little bouncer toward second base. Backhand stop Odor. Good throw to first. And Fernandez quickly retired to win the 7th. So the 8th inning beckons. Rangers still looking for their first hit. Transparency. Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer during the Ford SUV season. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Shiner Light Blonde. It's light done right. Well, thanks to T-Mobile, fans can receive a 20% discount on Fridays for the all-you-can-eat seats in the home run porch. You can get your tickets in the all-you-can-eat seats for September 21st. It'll be the last Friday home game of the season. Mariners in town to take on the Rangers. Use a coupon code T-Mobile at TexasRangers.com/specials. Well, like clockwork, Angels bringing in a new pitcher. Blake Parker checking in here in the 8th inning, 7th pitcher of the night.
Well, don't you have to figure that if you just keep using this many pitchers, sooner or later, one of them has to come in with bad stuff and get touched up. You just can't face this many pitchers and have every one of them come in and throw well. Now that theory's running out of time. There's only 2 more innings, but
yeah, we don't have a lot
I'm
more
still
time to
betting
test it.
on one of them coming in and not doing very well.
Last Rangers base runner was in the 3rd inning on a walk. Fly ball out towards center field. Ranging to his right for a Trout, one away here in the 8th inning. All right, let's take a moment. Checking again with our friends at Southwest Kia.
At Southwest Kia, we've made car buying easy. $250 down delivers, monthly payments $250 a month or less. SouthwestKia.com.
Okay, So 7 1/3 innings now for this Angels bullpen today. It started with Jim Johnson making just the second start in his career. The first start he made was his big league debut. Since then, 6 relievers, including this guy, Blake Parker. Noe Ramirez, Hansel Robles, Cam Bedrosian, Justin Anderson, Jose Alvarez, and now Parker. Jose Canner-Falefa, 0 for 2 so far. It's a strike, 1-1. The other thing too, Tom, I'm just trying here. I can't remember anything that was really very close to a base hit tonight. Not like there were like any questionable calls or fantastic defensive plays. And there's your base hit. Canner-Falefa to right field, and the Rangers will not be no hit tonight. And more importantly, he gets the potential go-ahead run to the plate.
Isaiah, against hard-throwing pitchers, has the ability to go the other way like that. He's had a lot of base hits to right field. Nice job. And it's not a dribbler, it's not a blooper, it's a nice solid line drive to right field, no doubt about it. Now one swing in the back and turn a no-hitter into a loss.
So the Rangers now smelling a little opportunity. Jeff Bannister pinch hits here with Ronald Guzman. Breaking ball falls in there for a strike. 8th inning, a man on in a 1-0 game. Guzman, of course, with the power, the potential to knock it right over the fence. Started the game yesterday, went 2 for 4. Takes outside. 1-1. 2 for 4 with this important swing as part of his night. 420 feet to center field.
Help me out again. What did that go over?
Over the topiary.
The topiary. If we show it again, I'm going to ask you again because there's no way I'll remember again.
Oh, yeah.
The topiary.
1 pitch. And it's 2-1.
Looked like it went over the bushes to me.
Well, it did. I mean, that wouldn't be inaccurate either.
Okay.
Potential tying run leading off first base. Three and 1. So Parker give up the sharp single. Put an end to any pressure for the rest of the bullpen on this no-hit bid. But now he's also fallen behind a good hitter. And in a spot here where he's going to have to give Guzman something decent to hit. It's a full count.
Yeah, it's a good one to hit. He had his pitch to hit, fouled it off. Hoping for another one.
Parker taking a long look in. He'll toss over there to first base, try to keep Canner-Falefa a little closer. Just spitballing here a little bit, Tom. Just watch Guzman when he gets ready to hit.
Okay.
It just looks like he's decidedly more upright. He's standing very relaxed, but very upright to sit bat. Or maybe I just haven't noticed it the last couple of days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he definitely looks that way.
Hits this ball well, deep to left field. Upton going back, and he'll make the catch. Second out of the inning, and Guzman gave that one a pretty good ride, but just missed.
I thought off the bat that it might have a chance. And then as you watch Upton go after it, you realize he's got a pretty good chance to catch it. Fastball away. Did the right thing. Didn't try to pull it. Looked like he hit it pretty well. Got it all the way to the warning track, maybe to the base of the wall, just not quite far enough.
So it's going to be up to Rougned Odor. Southwest Airlines bullpen live look, and one of our favorites, Buttry, getting ready out there for the Angels. Parker pretty deliberate. And the 1-0. That one hit hard out to right field. That's a base hit. And it's going to roll for a little while. Kind of Falefa got a good start, but they'll stop him at third. And so the Rangers have him on the corners in this 8th inning with 2 out.
Now there's an example when you have a man on first base and there's 2 outs late in the game and a 1-run lead. Calhoun was playing maybe a little bit deeper than normal in right field, and his goal is to be able to cut off a ball, keep it from getting to the wall, keep it from being a double. You can see how he's almost out near the warning track, and make sure that the guy from first can't score. And so in that particular case, it looked like it was successful.
All right, Ty Buttry indeed will enter the ball game. He'll inherit a couple of base runners in a 1-0 game when we come back. Used by the Angels tonight. It started with Jim Johnson, an inning and a third. Noe Ramirez followed. Robles, Pedrosian, Anderson, Alvarez, and finally Blake Parker. He flinched. 2 hits in his 2/3 of an inning. We're in fact even in the hit column right now. Mike Scioscia brings in Ty Buttry. The Rangers have the tying and go-ahead runs on base, and Jurickson Profar at the plate. And Buttry just does nibble off the outside corner there for strike 1.
Only the 11th game for Buttry, but they've been 10 pretty good games. 10 innings, 11 strikeouts, good opponent's batting average. Off to a good start.
Fouled away, and Profar in a hole 0-2. Sturts walked a couple of times. He has struck out. Kind of a crazy ball game today. A bullpen day for the Angels. And their 8th pitcher of the evening already. Rangers have used 4.
You know what I'd kind of like to see in this game? I'd like to see the Rangers tie it up, play about 13 or 14 innings, and have Mike Scioscia go through his whole bullpen and have to use a position player to pitch. Use 13 or 14 bullpen pitchers and then run out of pitchers.
That would be awesome. Stolen base for Odor, his 11th of the year. And that's not an insignificant stolen base, because now a base hit to the outfield. And that's all we're really asking for here. Just a base hit somewhere on the grass. Could score 2 runs and give the Rangers the lead. This one off the end of the bat toward third. Nice sliding stop. Coward pulls out Profar, and the inning is done, and we were that close. Wow. Rangers leave 2. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Still 1-0.
That was not that easy a play either. It wasn't the hardest smash in the world, but at the same time, that was not an easy hop to backhand like that. Really nice play by Coward.
So the Rangers left 2 men in scoring position. 1-0 the score here, and Coward, after making that fine play, leads things off in the bottom of the 8th inning. Martin Perez got the final out of the 7th. And bounces that one to the plate. 2-0. Delano DeShields checks in the game. Robinson was lifted for the pinch hitter, and so Delano takes over in center. And the 2-0. Again, a little bit short of the plate. Well, the Rangers won the opening game of this series yesterday 5-2. Today they have trailed since the 2nd inning. Not a lot of offense in this one for either team. There's a strike, 3-1. Adrian Sampson had the start for the Rangers, went 5 innings, allowed a run on 2 hits. Really nice effort from him. And Coward bounces this one on a high hop to short. Andrews throws him out, 1 away in the 8th. All right, look forward to tomorrow's finale. Another night game here. Pre-game coverage will begin at 8:30 Central Time. And our Ford pitching probables, Giovanni Gallardo, 5-3 in his last 9 starts. Will have the ball for the Rangers. Felix Pena, 0-3, 7 home runs allowed in 7 home starts this year. There's Yo. Hudson spoils one over to the right side, out of play. Joe Hudson 0 for 2. And in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Hudson still looking for his first major league hit. He's 0 for 3 in this his rookie season. 27 years old. Originally drafted by the Reds in the 6th round of 2012. Oh, 2 from Perez. A bit inside. Martin making that transition to the bullpen. Tonight, so far so good. Couple of ground ball outs. About what you'd expect from him. Good sinker ball pitcher. And there's another ground ball. This one on the short grass at right field, and Hudson thrown out, 2 away. I guess the grass is the same length everywhere. It's in short right field on the grass. Maybe it's not a better way to say that.
It's not a rough or a fairway out there.
The first cut.
Oh, that'd be a great idea.
I like it.
Put a little hazard out in the outfield. Have a sand trap.
Yeah.
Josh Lewin always used to say he'd like to see the warning track be a moat. Have a moat all the way around the field.
Put any reptiles or anything
Yeah,
in there? That'd be fun.
maybe one. You never know where it is.
2 away is Calhoun, 0 for 3 today. Takes a strike. Waves through strike 1 anyway. Perez try the first 3. Boy, jumps ahead of Calhoun, 0-2. Certainly looks the better of this matchup. They've seen a lot of one another over the years. Calhoun 7 for 29 against Martin. That's a 241 average. Lefty on lefty here. Pretty close.
A little extra on that one at 96 miles an hour.
Ground ball again. This one down to first. Profar, easy play to the bag, and it ends the inning. All right, last chance for the Rangers coming up. Elvis Andrus will lead things off. Nomar Mazara to follow, and then the veteran Adrian Beltre down 1-0. tribute to all those who lost their lives on this day 17 years ago, the brave men and women who serve our country every day. September 11th, and a tribute day all around Major League Baseball as we get back to play here in the 9th inning. Rangers down 1-0, but a chance with their 3, 4, and 5 hitters coming up here in the 9th inning against Ty Buttrey, who was out there last inning. Buttrey got the final out of the inning, retiring Jurickson Profar. Fastball off the plate. Ball 1 to Andrews. You have 3 guys do this inning, with a 4th potentially, and all of them with the ability to hit the ball a long, long way. And that's all it would take to make it a new ball game. Andrews with 6 home runs this year, but Nomar waiting with 20. Beltre has 12. Gallo would be due 4th in the inning, 35 home runs. And a bouncer up the middle, and that one is picked up by Simmons, and he throws out Andrews for the first out of the 9th inning.
What a play. You know, it wasn't hit that hard. It looked like he might be able to get to it. But once he got to it, it didn't look like there was any way he could throw the ball. This is just remarkable, the way he throws that ball. Didn't even have to take an extra step. He just caught it and threw it. I've never seen anybody do that. Maybe Ozzie Smith. That's just remarkable. Get something on the throw and make it accurate like that. What a play.
So now, Nomar Mazar. You know, and that was the big talk of the offseason and going into the regular season, was how this Angels team was likely the best defensive team in baseball, and especially up the middle when you consider Simmons, the greatest defensive shortstop, Trout in center field, no slouch, and Martin Maldonado behind the plate. I mean, they were really set to do some great things. They just did not pan out this year. Once again for the Angels, 1-2 the count now to Nomar.
Yeah, one measure of defense is errors made. Certainly not the only one, maybe not even the most important one. But if you just look at errors, they haven't made an error in 9 games, and they're on pace to easily break their record for fewest amount of errors in the season. That was set last year. They made 80. They only have 67 errors right now. And when you talk about defense, we've seen Mike Trout play defense very well in center field, and keep singing the praises of Andrelton Simmons at shortstop, and keep saying reasons why. That's one of the best ones I've seen him make.
Of course, they brought in Zach Cozart to play third base. They had Ian Kinsler to play second base. I mean, they were really set up well. Injuries hurt this year, pitching disappointed. And Mike Scioscia once again found himself managing a much different team, I think, than anyone had envisioned, or a much different situation. He knew it would be tough in this division. 2-2 to Mazara. Slow ground ball right side. Backhanded by Fernandez, and they get it to Buttrey covering the base. 2 away. The Rangers are down to their final out. But always hope when they have this guy coming to the plate. 0 for 3 tonight. Beltre with some pretty big career numbers against the Angels. One of the teams against whom he has had some of his greatest success. He takes outside ball 1. And Adrian, 1 hit away from a very big spot. He needs 1 more to tie George Brett for 15th on the all-time hit list. Ground ball, left side, and scooped up by Coward.
Boy, he looks pretty slick over at third base, too.
Yep. Left side of the infield today was a tough one. And the Angels win this one 1-0. The final score. The Rangers nearly no hit, but they got a couple in the 8th inning. Got 2 minutes scoring position, in fact, but couldn't quite get it done. On a bullpen day for the Angels, they used 8 pitchers and win it 1-0 to even the series. Stay with us, though. Rick Ritter, Mark McLemore, and Mike Bassick back in the studios, ready to break this one down for you. Bringing all the insight and post-game commentary. For Tom Grieve, John Radigan, and our entire crew, I'm Dave Raymond. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Please stay with us. More coverage of Rangers baseball coming up right after this.
Take defense here.
la mochila.